Hello, Daniel. How are you doing today?
I'm great, Heather. Thank you so much for having me on board here.
Oh, my pleasure. I wanted to talk to you because you've got over 30 years experience as a certified financial planner and a certified retirement coach. Is that right?
That's correct.
So, in all of this uncertainty, of course, people are worried about their money and any sort of financial loss or gain. And I think it's really important to keep a level head. And you have one of the most level heads I know of. So I wanted to get your advice on how to maneuver these times when it's changing so rapidly and nobody really knows what's going on.
Sure. So there's two issues here. One is the health issue that's driving the bus right now, and this COVID-19 thing is grabbing all the headlines. The subcontext to all that is the repercussions it's having across the whole economic system around the world. And over the last 50 years, since the end of World War II, we've been sort of going through this massive phase of globalization. So if China sneezes, everybody around the world is going to feel that, and we are absolutely seeing that today. It's the first time in history that governments have shut down the global economy to deal with a medical issue. Yeah, during the Spanish flu back in 1918, 1919, the global economy, which was on its heels already because of World War One, it got hit. But this is completely different. There's a lot of disruption. There's people are confused. The markets are confused. They're trying to see through all this. So there's a lot of events that are all working together to create this massive panic attack that rightly so people should be feeling. So, this is not, it's not pleasant, but the system's reacting the way it should be reacting, which is massive confusion.
Yeah, and I think the fact that we have instantaneous communication and we're being bombarded with so many different messages all the time, most of them negative. I mean, I don't listen to the news, but every time I do tune in rather, it's somebody saying how many people have died instead of how many people have recovered. So everything's skewed. And we know that we're not getting all the information we need, but I think people would like to know. I certainly would like to know. I'm not even looking at my investments right now, but I would like to know how to maneuver this financially. Like, do we sit back and just wait and see what comes out in the end, or how do we proceed?
Okay. So when you're dealing with money, the first thing you got to do, there's four basic things that need to happen regardless of what's going on today. So today is a massive distraction, but you have to plan for these kinds of events. You don't know what they're going to look like, but you have to plan for them. So the first thing is you need to have some form of financial plan. So you got to have timelines, you have to have goals, objectives, and that has to be sort of anchored down in some form of a document, okay? And then you have to, based on the objectives that you have in the timelines, then you have to go to the second step, which is to deal with the asset allocation of your portfolios so that each one of your portfolios will meet the required goals that you've set out for yourself, okay?
Mm-hmm.
The third one, you have to monitor all that. So you sit down with your financial planner, if you have one, your advisor, whoever that person is. And if you don't have one, it's probably a good time to start shopping for one, because we can't do this alone. A dentist needs to go see another dentist to pull their teeth out. We're here to provide a massive service to society. So the third part is to monitor what's really going on in your own personal life, bounce those ideas off your professional that you're dealing with, and then make the appropriate changes based on your life situation. So if you get married, that's a life event. How does that impact your life? If you get fired from a job, that's a life event. How will that impact your life? Those are the normal day-to-day things. And the fourth thing that you need to do is to disassociate, so completely disconnect your emotions from the investment process. Okay, you can't mix the two together. Oil and water don't mix unless you shake them, and you need some level of emulsifier to make everything work together. Investing is the same thing. keep your emotions in check and try to be level-headed. And that's why you need an investment professional, a financial planning professional, to act as that sounding board for ideas. So what do you do when you go through a COVID-19 type of event? You sit on your hands. Unless there is something very, very disruptive that's taken place in your life. So because nobody's working, your cash flow has been seriously impacted. So you need to revisit that. You need to pull out your budget that you made for yourself before this event and start revising and reviewing the items that are on your budget. So your discretionary spending, that's your Starbucks, that's your gym membership, that's all of those nice things that you like to do to make your life a nice, happy place. And then there's the non-discretionary stuff that keeps the lights on in your house. And this, what I'm talking about, is applicable to a business as well. So it's the only difference is that a business is its own entity and it hires people to do some of the internal work.
Yeah.
But for a person, it's discretionary and non-discretionary. You have to revise those. Today, you have to be looking at your budget to see what is superfluous and what is not, what is essential.
So one of the most interesting points for me that you touched on, well, of course, they're all very salient points. The emotional distancing. Now, right now, everyone I talk to is kind of an emotional wreck, depending on the day, the hour, So
Sure.
what tips would you have for gaining that emotional distancing?
Everybody's different, and there's a lot of investment biases that are out there that will make somebody overly confident about things. And we saw this in 1999, 2000 during the tech wreck, where people wanted to drive everything in their portfolio into one binary sector in the marketplace. People are doing the same thing now, and they're going, the world's going to end, and it's the binary decision. I need to get the hell out of the market and just to regroup. So the best thing they can do is to sit on their hands, go take a cold shower, and let the storm pass. And if they have an investment professional to engage with him or her to be the sounding board of their emotions. So for the last month and a half, I've been Dan the psychologist, trying to help people deal with the emotional stress that they're feeling when, in the matter of 20 trading days, the stock markets go from peak to trough. We've never seen this in history. I've been at this for 33 years, and I've never seen this kind of a elevator drop in share prices. But the flip side to that is, off the bottom, we're up around 40% off the bottom. There's always an exaggeration when the markets go through these kinds of events. So it's always best to just stay put, let the market do what the market's going to do, which is drop down. It's going to bounce off the bottom, and then it's going to start to navigate through the complexities of the reality of today. And that's what the markets are doing now. So the best advice for people is to take these two things, put them on your chair, and put your butt on there and do nothing. And
Maybe like this.
Yes, exactly. And focus on other things that are more relevant in your life right now. Food, shelter, water, the basics of life. The money stuff, the professionals are out there to assist you in doing that. Again, if you don't have one, a selfish plug here, you got to go out and find somebody you're going to be able to work with
For sure.
in that capacity.
Yeah, it's such interesting times, as you said, they're unprecedented, and I for myself, I've just been trying to go with the current and not be reactionary, but it's very hard, and it changes day by day. So I think people, you're right, they need to understand that they need to just stay the course and stay solid right now. But even after the bans are lifted and life gets back to its new normal, things will still be complicated for a while, won't they?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. So anybody who tells you that they know what the other side of this is going to look like is lying, because nobody in the world has gone through this before. So,
Right.
you know, every day we're learning, every minute we're learning about what the new normal is going to look like. So the best thing we can do collectively is to be observant, to be mindful of events, to be mindful of ourselves, to do some grounding so that we collectively and we personally can stay focused on the job of hand, which is to stay alive today and to plan. One thing I've learned over the years is that the stock market is a forward looking mechanism. So it looks out 3, 6, 9, 12 months out to see what is over the foreseeable future, and it will try to anticipate what the future is going to look like. And I'm spending a lot of time with uh, with portfolio managers, with analysts, with everybody that's out there to gain some knowledge, and it's connecting the dots to try to see what does the future look like. You know, the economy, the global economy is going to come back, that's for sure. What does it look like? Who knows? You know, some people are saying that it's going to take 3 years before big, large cap companies, you know, those are the big Nestle's of the world, uh, before they come back to their pre-event earnings, peak cycle earnings. So, you know, nobody really knows. We're going to look at this, but there's going to be a point where, and this is where it gets really, really critical, is we have to watch the numbers. We have to watch the cresting of the numbers and the numbers going down, uh, the death rate going down, the recovery rate, which is even more important, the people that are now able to donate plasma. You know, there's there's a group, a cohort out there that's growing every day as these people recover. So, you know, science is out there, and it's going to help us look through all of this, and the stock market is paying close attention to that. And as the economies around the world start to open up, we're going to start to see a sense of normalcy back into things. But you know, is it next week? Is it 3 months, 6 months down the road? You tell me. I don't have a clue. But you know, collectively, as we start going away from this confinement, we're going to go back out, get our haircuts. We're going to go out. Hey, listen, I put fuel in my car yesterday. That was a big event. I hadn't put fuel in my car in a month. So, you know, wow, I spent $37 and I'm going, wow. And I dragged it out as long as I could because, you know, we're not used to that. It's been, for me, it's been a month. So depending on what you're doing, it's those little mundane things of life that we weren't just paying attention to, but now we are. So, you know, things are going to come back. Absolutely. So in the meantime, you know, go outside for a walk. You know, everybody that you've been on, that's been on talking with you, they're all saying the same thing. Go for a walk. You know, be mindful. You know, check in on yourself. Check in on the people that you have to deal with on a daily basis, your family members. Make sure everybody's okay. Try not to get on each other's nerves. You know, that's where
I
you
thought
have
it's
to have,
spring.
yeah, it's spring. You know, today it's a beautiful day, but it's +3 outside.
Yeah,
It's
it's cool.
very deceiving. But you know, just do the basic things of life, and this storm will pass. This
What
storm will pass.
what I would like to see is each country kind of supporting its own industries more and its own small businesses and its own farmers markets and develop our own reliance. And I think that we've come to depend on getting things so cheaply from overseas that we haven't really looked within to see what resources we can offer ourselves. And I don't just mean Canada. I mean any country. Pick any country in the world. Pick Italy. So many artisans and talented people, but the last time I was there, it was all cheap crap. Guess where it was made.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying cut everybody else out, but I think each country has a lot of its own to deliver and to get support from the citizens of that country.
Sure. You bring up a really good point. So one of the things that I do is do a ESG SRI overlay on client portfolios. What does that mean? It means that ESG is environmental, social, governance issues that many of our portfolio managers that we use will screen companies to make sure that they are doing the right things based on the various criteria. Same with the SRI, which is socially responsible investing. Those two terms are sort of interchangeable. But to your point, I think one of the things that we're going to start to see is this more shop local kind of a flavor to investing, so that we can benefit. We collectively in our little town, we can benefit and support the local shopkeepers like yourself. Can you get your stuff at a big department store? Probably not. There's certain elements, but it's going back to the really fundamentals of life, which is supporting your local business, supporting as much as you can. It's not always possible, but where it is possible, then you support your local business to be able to keep that money circulating within a small geographic area. So yeah, I think longer term there's going to be a review of globalization, repatriation of production facilities back to a home country, and that'll include Canada. It'll definitely include the US, Europe. So, this is a disruptive event. It's going to take years to unwind what took place before this event. But yeah, there's going to be some good positive things that are going to come out of this. And we need to keep our wits about us so that we can smell those as they're unfolding in front of us.
Yeah. It's everything is about focus, right? What you focus on, the way you perceive things, and two people can perceive things very differently. But one of the biggest lessons I've learned in my life is that if you can perceive things in a way that puts a positive spin on it, like people are talking about how clear the skies are in different countries because their production centers have shut down, or that sort of thing. There are a lot of positives to focus on as well. It's just that we're so used to listening to all the doom and gloom that if you look for it, it's there, no question.
Yeah. I was reading today that the pollution issue back in China is back up to pre COVID-19 levels. So you start up the manufacturing process and you're back to where you were before. So it's a temporary reprieve, and it is what it is. It's our global economic system. You can criticize it as much as you want, but it's the system that we have to work and live in. And until there's something to replace it, it is what it is.
Yeah. No, good point. Good point.
Yeah, it is what it is.
I mean, there are dolphins in the canal. No, there are dolphins. There are dolphins in the
Venice Canal. Yeah, I saw those.
They're really cold right now.
Yeah, those are Arctic dolphins.
That's right. Good to see them back. Well, thank you so much for sharing your words of wisdom, Daniel. And I'll post a link with your website and any other pertinent information that you'd like to share, and we'll get this up and running.
Okay, beautiful.
Thanks so much.
All right, you're welcome. Bye for now.
See you later. Bye.